All right, and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Thought I would sit down and do a video for you guys and gals. Sip my water first. A link. Facebook page, if you guys will please follow me there. Be greatly appreciated. All right, so over to the topic. I still see this stuff nonstop. All these people with their crazy, extreme bad diets, and they all try to evangelize. And what I consider a fad diet is, obviously carnivore, obviously vegan. I mean, when it has a dietary approach, I'm not saying the ethical side, but when people push it as a nutrition approach, it's a problem. Where they're excluding healthy foods, right? Entire healthy food groups. Or when people insist that you have to eat junk, when people push the flexible dieting, they do. This falls into craziness. Here's what I would say to people. Why can't we just eat balanced whole food diets? And if you care about body composition, eat lots and lots and lots of protein. Not saying your timing can't be certain things. You can certainly do stuff like intermittent fasting. You can certainly focus on eating meals around what you need for training or recovery. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? That's not extreme. Protein overfeeding can be done. But this idea that people have that we need these extreme approaches. I mean, I would argue if it fits your macros, people who literally try to track all their macros to the gram is almost extreme. It's not even necessary. Like, it has never been necessary to get contest ripped. Okay, and I want to be clear on that. Not saying messing with certain foods for water balance can't affect fluid balance, carbohydrate manipulation for those things, but actually getting lean enough. Since when have you ever had to count your grams of carbs and fat to win a bodybuilding show? When has this ever been necessary? Just saying, keep in mind that is on the extremer end. It's fairly just. I'm not saying not to do it if you need to. But that is the point. People need to understand that for most goals, if you're just trying to get a six-pack, if you're just trying to get a 600-pound deadlift, normal goals, you don't have to go with any of these extreme approaches. And a lot of them do more harm than good. I'm actually watching some of these groups where people got to find what works for them, and they're literally ignoring true expertise. It's like, I'm sorry, but when you're standing there as someone, and this is Dunning-Kruger, when people who don't have much experience are making those arguments, and they're literally arguing against people, I don't know, with masters or PhDs in nutrition who actually coach bodybuilders for a living on top of it. And these are fitness groups. And they're telling you, hey, your dietary approach is problematic. It's not going to really work for anyone. I don't know. Maybe it's time to kind of listen. And maybe what you're doing is goofy. Yeah, you're right, Chris. It's like, Jason, these people will either vegan or carnivore. It's like a political party, sports team, or religion. That's what it is. It's an ideology. I don't need any of this. Eat whole foods. That's it. Eat whole foods. Whether you choose to go higher carb, lower carb, higher fat, lower fat, mix them, it's fine. Eat a whole food balanced diet. Focus on whole foods, minimally processed, and eat lots of protein. Most of you will reach your goals. Keep a loose count of your calories. Keep the protein super high. I mean, most people will get pretty dang good results doing that. Just calories on what's going on with the scale. It's a little bit, titrated up with that. It works extremely well. In my case, I borderline only track calories. I keep a loose count, and I hammer that protein hard. So even now, I've even quit messing at this point. I realize I need a little more carbs. I always need some healthy fat. So I'm at this point just eating both. I'm just at this point just eating both. And I do feel like, the lower carb helps my waistline drop a little water. But I'm like, if I just lose more fat, that'll tighten up anyways, right? Want it? It'll tighten if I just get leaner. Right? Get a little bit leaner. So there's your solution, guys. But everyone wants it to be so extreme. But yeah, that's the problem. Like, Chris, those diets, they don't work. They do cause problems for people, and that's what everyone's ignoring, right? Tony D says, Jason, through your videos and journey, I've been inspired to clean up my diet and to cut a bit 3 weeks in and feeling good. Hey, man, I'm glad to hear it, dude. Glad to hear it. I'm glad that is coming handy for you, man. And keep moving forward, right? Keep moving forward. Let me see. Yeah. All right. So it was typing to, of all people, you guys remember client Louis? I'm coaching him again these days. He came back fully. So trying to get a call scheduled with him tomorrow. Get back over to these. Chris says, yeah, people don't understand that if you just eat a whole balanced diet, you'll look normal without working out. Yeah. Well, look normal. If people are trying to look normal, we won't look great. But even then, that'll work. Right? Matt says that's exactly what I do. Keep an eye on the calorie count and hammer protein. It works. Because you guys tossed me some likes, by the way. You're all commenting. That'll get more people in here, by the way. That's those positive engagements. Yeah, Matt, I mean, it works really well. I'm not even tracking my protein. I mean, I'm not even tracking my carbs and fat. I know that I eat healthy carbs and fat every day because I'm throwing in avocados, almond butter, walnuts. I'm doing some brown rice, some sweet potatoes. It's a loose count of the calories. But I'm trying to hit over 300 grams of protein every day. Right. Jason, what's that weird yogurt dish you make that you post sometimes? I don't have one specific one, so I'm going to need you to be very specific, Chris. Chris, I almost need you to go tag the one and say, hey, you're Chris from the stream under the picture so I can tell you what's in it. Is that fair? Because I do a lot of different yogurt dishes to where I mix different stuff with yogurt. So I don't know what's in it unless you actually go tag it. Is that fair? Because I've made about 12 different ones that don't have any of the same stuff in them. Like, does it have nuts on it? Does it look like I got chocolate in it? Does it look like there's protein powder mixed in it? Is there some fruit in it? What's in it? What do you see? And then I can go look at the picture and tell you what's in it. I just mix stuff with yogurt. Matt says, I think some of these people aren't even doing it for health reasons. I think a lot of them are doing it to feel like they belong. And that's the problem, Matt. That is why they're doing it. They are doing it to belong to something. And that's the thing, is it being extremely fit isn't already extreme enough, Guys, eating a clean diet and training really, 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 really hard already puts you in an extreme group. Like, you're already involved in something special. If you don't eat junk food and you actually work out consistently, long term, you're already in a rare group. You're already part of something. You don't need to go join a separate cult. Benjamin, do you think doing a lot of cardio, a lot of long distance running cardio could potentially burn muscle? Yes. Is it possible to run marathons without it burning muscle? Also, yes. Right? So it's a question of what are you doing to make sure that you don't burn muscle? What's your procedure here? What are you working with? I guess I'm saying is if you had a normal non-processed whole foods diet, whole protein, vegetables, fruits, water, you wouldn't be fat or skinny. That'd be a healthy genetic size. Well, you wouldn't be fat. Person could end up being really skinny if they underate on that. I know that could happen, right? But they're not going to be fat. That would essentially solve obesity. Like, people act like we don't know what causes obesity. The flexible dieters don't, well, know which calories that cause it. Really? Because I promise you right now, if 4 things were completely outlawed and banned, within 5 years, there wouldn't be a single fat person in America. And if anyone, I dare anybody to gamble with me on this, challenge me on this. Okay. All refined sugars, all refined fats, so that includes all oil and butter, right? Actually, let's just count those together. I was going to say oils and butter. That's just one thing. All refined fats, that would include butter. All alcohol was banned. If they were unavailable, you could not get access to them. Does anyone think there will be fat people in America? Five years from now, would there be more than a handful of morbidly obese people left? I'm going to go with no. It would drop down to less than 1% of the population, way less than 1%, instead of like the 30% or whatever it is, within 5 years, guaranteed. They would all lose the weight. So are we really going to say, oh, it's not the food choices, it's just the calories, right? That's like saying heroin isn't the problem, it's the addiction. Yeah, but if you didn't have the heroin, you wouldn't get addicted to it. I'm just saying. Is hit or less more likely to burn muscle? It's not how it works. So Benjamin, let's not use the term burn muscle. Let's talk about lose muscle. You're talking about either excessive calorie deficit or you're talking about interference effect with your lifting. Okay, so you're really asking the wrong question. You're really asking the wrong question. What are you doing, Siri? Because it's not burning muscle that we're talking about. It's interference effect. You're either burning excessive calories or you're creating an interference effect with your training and then reducing gains. I hate when people say you're born fat, people can't control it. There was a study done. No, exactly. Yep. I mean, we have starvation studies. Do you remember the Minnesota starvation experiment? At the end of it, every single man had a deep six-pack. All of them. Every single test subject, irrespective of genetics or starting point, had a six-pack. All of them. Appetite's genetic to some extent. What are the benefits of extreme cardiovascular endurance like that of a great boxer being able to run 10 miles in a great time? The ability to win a boxer to run 10 miles in a great time. Are you asking me, are there necessarily health benefits to extreme cardiovascular endurance over just good cardiovascular endurance? There's no health benefits. Probably not. No. So, no, you're talking about the ability to perform at an extreme level in those sports. That is the benefit, right? Why would you think there's health? Like, there's not necessarily true health benefits beyond a certain point with that. Just like, I would say the amount of weight that I lift. We know strength training causes an enormous number of health benefits. Is it probably adding to health to go to the level I'm at with it? No. I'm probably not really getting health benefits from everything that I do past a certain threshold. Right? Make sense? I choose to do it because I want to be jacked. Did you change your pull-up sets to 5 to 6 reps because it's easier to progress in that rep range? I just wanted more mechanical tension. You're overthinking it. Progression's going to be crazy slow right now. I'm not worried about progression in that regard. No, I just wanted some more mechanical tension. I felt like going a little heavier because my overall volumes are getting really, really high and I'm getting lots of rep work. So mechanical tension means how much tension is being placed on the muscle, how much weight is being placed on the muscle through the tendon. Right? In other words, I wanted to load the muscles a little heavier. I mean, keeping in mind, Matt, I'm doing a lot of really high volumes with some higher rep stuff at the end. I want some of my earlier lifts to be a little heavier while I'm doing that with the volumes I'm doing. Because keep in mind, even those pullovers work lats. So Seiko says, advice people are constant but never seem to gain muscle or strength, fix their program and their diet. I don't have advice, so let me see what they're doing wrong. I need to see what they are doing in order to fix it. So my advice to them is they need to get with me for a consultation, I guess. But doesn't higher reps increase damage to the muscle? To some extent, sure. And where are we going with this? Is it damage that I can recover from? I mean, I could just not lift weights. Like lifting weights is going to increase damage to the muscles. So Seiko, how about I mean, if your concern is, am I going to see some damage to the muscles? Well, I guess I can just quit lifting weights if I don't want that to happen. Do you think a 15 and a half, a lean one? Sure. Ben said you recently said yours. Okay, you're asking me a specific question to something that is a variable metric. It literally depends. The range would be enormous from one person to the next and one session to the next. Just like cardio. But we know that lifting weights on an hour per hour basis for return to training definitely causes as much fat loss as cardio. This is meta-analysis. Right? Now, you could go look into those meta-analysis and look at the data yourself if you're really curious of the specifics. I have seen a handful of Greg videos ever. So no, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen this one. Nope. Is there anything specific I should know about it? Should I watch it? Check it out. It's funny. All right. I don't know, man. Watching all these guys argue, it's a point where I just shake my head. Yeah, I mean, but people are going to do that, but there's genetics and other stuff at play. I mean, I would also say part of Mike's problem is the specific drugs he uses in excess are probably not helping what he's doing. And I'm not saying that training is necessarily the problem. All right, Mike's issue there with the physique, just like everything else, not even about his training. It's that Mike probably didn't have the best genetics for certain things, and neither do I. Right? I don't have amazing aesthetic genetics. right? So the issue, yeah, and it's because of the insulin. Seiko. Mike uses too much insulin in IGF-1, and that's the issue. Or then you have someone like Greg, who actually has really good genetics for bodybuilding purposes, and he didn't have to do those same drugs in those same amounts, right? So, I mean, really, that's kind of what's going on there. So I don't really know what we're roasting about it or why. I just don't care. But I mean, yeah, it's very obvious with Mike. It's excessive insulin and stuff like that, possibly excessive IGF-1, most likely insulin. Just what happens, right? What situation? Adam, I don't even know where to answer that or how to get into that sort of question. Sorry. No questions. Mike's big instructors are great for bodybuilding. Scott, I chose to just recently because I built my conditioning way up. I built my GPP way up doing the daily cardio. And I feel like now I'm at a point where I can simply just focus on higher volumes of lifting now that I'm lifting 6 days a week and get what I need for now for this phase of training. Right? So when I just training too, and I want to remind people because occasionally people think that it's a change of opinion. Okay. They start thinking it's a change of opinion. No, it's just a change in a phase of my training. I think cardio is great. I think most people should do cardio. I think that at this point for me, I want to take my lifting volumes up higher and higher, right, for better overall body composition. And I feel like the time I was spending doing cardio, I could work in a little more lifting. Scott, you're asking how long does it take? I don't have an answer. I do not have an answer to that question. I do not know the answer. And that's the sort of question that you see people literally trying to do their PhDs in to find the answers to. And they don't even have answers. Because again, the question becomes what's happening with your total activity. Questions like that fall into, I don't know, what does your whole lifestyle look like? I mean, in theory, William, no, I'm going to say with no, man. There's definitely going to be a point where cardio is no longer necessarily helping your health benefits. I don't know how many hours per week that is. I don't know if it happens at 10 hours, 20 hours, or 100 hours a week. But there's going to be a break point where your cardio starts interfering with your health. And I don't know how many hours that's going to be. It might be, hey, when you start doing around 67 hours of running per week, your health will start to decline badly. Right? So we don't know what that is. Greg is like, drink cough syrup to lose weight. That's stuff like this. So, yeah. What constitutes cardio to you? I don't have a specific minimal. Cardio, I'm going to use the definition the Supreme Court used for obscenity. I don't have a definition of it, but you know it when you see it. What are a few examples of optimal conditioning? The amount that gets you exactly where you need for your sport, Scott. That is what's optimal. The optimal amount of conditioning is a conditioning that lets you compete at your specific sport at the highest level. So the optimal conditioning for a marathon runner is not the same as a triathlon athlete, is not the same for a boxer. But if all you care about is health, a few hours a week. Hey, um, hey, William, why are you asking about that? I thought you were a regular good poster. Why are you asking about my ex-girlfriends? All right. Um, I don't like eating vegetables. Can I put vegetable oil over my food? Hey, Gavin. Yeah, that's totally what he's been studying. So basically, you're stalking me, is what you're admitting. What a weirdo. I guess that's the end of you. Normally, I thought you were a good poster. Oh, I was about to block you, dude, straight up. I was reaching over to do it. Yeah. All right. Cool. Actually, you're even talking about those videos. That should almost be enough to just get rid of you, honestly. The fact that you even notice or care is psycho level weird. Yeah. Like, you should probably go talk to a therapist, bro, at that point. Um, TKS, as someone who's been so passionate about training their whole life, how do you deal with the thought of getting to the age where you'll never be able to hit any more PRs? What do you mean deal with it? TKS, what do you mean? What do you mean deal with the thought? You just train, dude. You train, you focus on doing the best you can, you keep getting better. And when you get to that point, you get to that better, you set other goals and you keep moving forward. Right? And it's that simple. Um, that really is all there is to it. Seiko, I don't have a number. I'm sorry. I don't know. Probably right now. What am I at right now? Whatever you estimate me at is probably the lowest I've ever been. Would be this week. Dude, I'm not 5%. No, I'm in the double digits. There's no way I'm under even 10%. Um, Where's the lowest body weight I've reached this year? 204 during the last power outage with the heat wave. I weighed in at 204 one of those mornings during all the heat. All right. So I'm 217 today. So the coach is weighing in at 217. Will you get a DEXA scan? No, I'm not even worried about a DEXA scan right now. Maybe one next year at some point. Right? Maybe next year. Not that big of a deal. I'm just going to continue to refine my look. I mean, those are data points, but it's like, I could spend that same money on something else useful. I could spend that on protein. I could spend that on Primo. Scott, it's just water, right? It's just water. I haven't regained any body fat. Suggested my added more clean carbs back in. Primo, not mass, must be nice. Primo is way better than mass, dude. Right? We could argue mass in theory for sex drive, but you can run more tests with Primo, so it ends up, you know what I'm saying? Like, so if you optimize your test to Primo balance, you can still go to pound count for an hour if your conditioning is on point. So, it's kind of tit for tat. I mean, not like you have 6 girlfriends. So, I mean, that's kind of the argument you can make for the mast, I guess. Well, yeah, I mean, but it's not that expensive, dude. Come on. Once you get past where you lose, it can't go around. Yeah, speak for yourself, William. All you guys talk about, I want to be natural. I want to be natural. Then you say silly crap like that. And I'm like, damn, being natural would suck. Like, why would you even want to live life like that? Like, why would you even want to do that? Like, why would you want to be natural? I mean, when you guys write stuff like that, think about what you just wrote. Man, once you get past 40, you can only have one orgasm and then your dick goes limp. Like, Jesus Christ, just give up on life at that point, dude. Wow. You guys put that natty card on such a pedestal that you're willing to suffer like that. I'm just saying. Just kind of making a point here. Like, you guys are not exactly selling the whole natural movement. Have sex for 5 minutes a day. I'm proud of my daddy status. Like, oh my God. All righty, you just get on with your 2-pump chunk self. All right. You have problems getting it up. I'm not 5% like that, dude. No, Seiko, I don't have any problems. The devil says, right? Technology applies also not that everyone's smart about it, of course. It's recomping a real thing. Here's a myth. Well, it's been proven in the lab over and over and over and over and over and over and over. So let me ask you a question, Scott. If something has been observed in a lab over and over and over repeatedly, and we've observed it in the real world, is it real or a myth? That says hit a 6-rep PR yesterday on deficit deadlifts that I've been working towards for 5 to 6 weeks. Team Blaha getting strength and getting leaner at the same time. There you go, brother. That's what it's all about. Cardiovascular system. Well, William, maybe they need to be training for 2 hours a day. All right, Chad B says that your farm training is 60% of your motor max for 10, says the 10 reps is better. How about I don't think either one is necessarily optimal. The idea, I like the idea here, but stuff takes years of your life. Does it, Papa? Are you sure? Or are you talking about the extreme abuse in pro bodybuilders? So, Papa, here's my question. Are you talking about for the casual moderate user? Do you have one shred of evidence of that? So you said that takes years off your life. Do you have evidence of this? Because the leading researchers and scientists are saying there doesn't appear to be evidence of it. Last time I looked at a meta-analysis, they're saying moderate anabolic use by athletes doesn't seem to shorten lifespan from what we could tell. In fact, we find the opposite in the correlation. People that we know from we've done the studies, in some cases, their lifespan is slightly longer than the general population. When they've gone back and looked at some of these athletes they know probably used like through the 60s and 70s because their athletic lifestyles ended up offsetting it more than whatever health risk they had gotten. So, I mean, this is kind of what's happening in the scientific world on it. It's been a little overblown. But, I mean, I also talk about the abuse in the bodybuilding world, okay? And we have to talk about that. Yes, dude, if you are filling up 15 full syringes every week and injecting them into your body, you're shaving years off your life, dude. That's how you end up, in the case like Bruce Piana and some of these other guys who died young, right? You can't just, treat your body like a pincushion. You can't just shoot up all day long over and over and eat 50 pills a day. But you also can't compete in the Mr. Olympia without doing that. All right. So So therein lay the conflict, and we have to talk about that. So when people forget that, whenever I talk about these bodybuilders dropping like flies, they're not using 500 milligrams here, guys. These guys dropping like flies are using like 5,000, 8,000, 10,000, plus 6 other non-steroid drugs with them, sometimes at doses that have never been tested in a human. Okay, that's why I'm saying pro bodybuilding is a death cult. You can't use 10 grams of steroids a week and 20 units of HGH a day and 300 units of insulin every day and not shave decades off your life, right? You can't do that. King team, can you build a strong physique on a parallel piece? I don't know what that means. Liberty Garden says, hello, Jason. Seiko says, congrats on that PR. Thank you. Whatever PR, I guess. Coach, currently doing deadlifts and RDLs on back day. Which third exercises did you work in for back lats? Well, I don't see any lat work in there so far. You might want some pull-ups. Been over row. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad choice. Scott's my understanding that even moderate says you've been for you. I mean, again, very bad. And how are you defining moderate? Okay. All right. Scott, have you looked at the research? So again, it's not like something like alcohol. So when I say alcohol in moderation has been proven to be harmful to your health, this is studied. This is what the actual research shows. The research on some anabolics, not all of them, we're not talking anadrol or winstrol, we're talking stuff like testosterone. Okay, you don't see it in the research. Like, in other words, if you go look at the studies on blood work and health effects of 500 milligrams of test a week for months on end tested in healthy men, right? You look at the studies. Keep in mind, that's 4 to 5 times a therapeutic dose. That is way above TRT. TRT is usually like 100, maybe up to 150. Okay, that will replace everything you make on your own. So 500, 600. So you look at those studies. What does the blood work show? Do we see the negatives in the health compared to 1 drink a week? So if you go to that research that we have and you compare 1 shot of whiskey or 1 beer a week to 500 milligrams of testosterone, and you go only on the scientific evidence, a reasonable person would say the testosterone is safer than 1 drink a week based upon the scientific evidence that we have today. Hence the problem. So it enlarges your heart over prolonged use. Are you sure of that one? But then you wrote test is fine. Coach, which lift caused you the most fainting feeling? Mine, none. I get more nausea than anything. Hey, Jess, I mean, I don't think vaping is healthy, but here's my thing with it. I'm not going to judge you for what you choose to do. Look, I have friends who vape. I have friends who smoke weed. I have friends who drink. I have people close to me in my life who I love dearly who do those things. I don't think they're good, but I also don't judge those people for it because they're people I care about. And if they ask me, I'll be like, if they ask me for health advice, I'll tell them they should quit doing those things. But, yeah. But I mean, vaping is definitely not healthy. But people are going to have their vices at the end of the day. But we could say, hey, things are not healthy. And that's fair. The hardcore stuff causes, hey, William, but what are we defining as the hardcore stuff? How are you defining that? I mean, do we count Primo? Do we count Deca? Where do we count them in the spectrum? I mean, Trend definitely, Winstrel definitely, those things are definitely up there. Yeah, Trend definitely. I will say hands down, as someone who says that gear can be done in a fairly healthy manner, right? Trend is another beast. It seems like with Trend, even very modest use, you can see it on the blood work. Like it has problems, and I've seen people with a lot of health effects from abusing Trend. Do you recommend doing strict pin leg rows beltless to lessen the feigning restriction? Sometimes, yeah, if that's a problem for you. Would low carb or low fat whole foods diet with very food count this? They can, yeah, or they can totally. Ruben, do you think of the non-alcoholic beers a good compromise who want to avoid alcohol? But do they really do those things really taste good? I mean, I suppose. I suppose if they need that bridge for that, they could certainly do it. I don't think beer tastes or those non-alcoholic beers taste pretty good. But that's my opinion. If they enjoy the taste and that's what they need to bridge that gap, I mean, I would say go for it. Hey, Popa. So what you're saying is maybe we need to remove the black market and make it all over the counter, and that way it all has safety controls in place. So if we quit demonizing it, we could do that, and anyone 21 could walk in and buy it just like alcohol. You can go buy testosterone if you got an ID. Do you think Trend played a role in the trends? Trend is notorious for contributing to tendon ruptures. Notorious for it. This is well known. Right? All right. Hey, Scott, what sounds extremely dangerous? Making testosterone legal for a grown adult to walk in and buy? You can buy McDonald's. So, Scott, you can buy McDonald's right now. You can give McDonald's to your kid. That's dangerous. William, that's not exactly what's going on with the Trend. There's other things at play. So, William, the thing is when you're talking about tendons and gear, why do people say that without then also discussing drugs that strengthen tendons? So why do the people who say that never bring the other up? Because there's PEDs that compromise tendons. There's PEDs that have a neutral effect on tendons, and there are PEDs that strengthen tendons. So why, when that topic comes up, don't the same people bring up maybe people should use more drugs that strengthen their tendons? People can't afford all that. What do you mean they can't afford all that? I can afford all that, and I'm apparently poor. So, hey, Daniel, show me don't ask me a question like that. Show me the contract. All right. Real Rob says, really, that test making my face bloated? Hey, Rob, is my face bloated? From that there sip. Just saying, maybe clean your shitty diet up. That could be part of it. Just saying. No, I mean, I'm picking on you with that. But how much of that is the way people eat too? Because I don't have any face bloat. I don't use an aromatase inhibitor, and I'm on 500 tests right now. Just saying. Some people use 30K of gear a month. Now, where are they buying it? I spend more on protein powder sometimes than I do on gear, to be honest. Are topical testosterone creams effective for those who want to avoid syringes? No. Liver King. Yeah, but Liver King was an ass clown. You know. Yeah, weighted pull-ups are great. Dude, weighted pull-ups are great. I've always been curious whenever someone takes gear for the first time, how quickly they feel the effects. You usually get a psychosomatic response immediately, even on fake gear. That's been studied in the lab. That we know that happens, right? Instantly. Even if it hasn't fully hit your system enough to fully register, your next workout is always phenomenal. It's like the best workout of your life for 90% of people, including in the lab when they were given fake anabolics. Weighted pull-ups or strict rows, which one would keep you to progress forever? Pulpa, but what about that study of 30,000 men that showed that TRT reduced strokes and heart attacks by 30%? What about that study? And why are you talking TRT? I'm over here talking about straight up using gear, and you're talking TRT. Okay, so set that. Why are we even bringing TRT into the discussion? Bro, we're talking about blasting. You're talking a doctor prescription of a therapeutic amount. I'm over here talking about, hey, having testosterone levels that no human has ever produced in the history of the world. That's the study we were talking about a minute ago. We're not even talking TRT. Now, if you're going to bring up TRT, we got some pretty large scale studies that show that they reduced stroke and heart attack rates. You got one article, but what about the large scale studies? Because some of those are smaller. That one massive study was very telling. When you had that many test subjects, when it was past the tens of thousands of test subjects, it created a completely different picture in the statistics. So why aren't you talking about that one if we want to talk TRT and men's health? Why are you scaremongering against something that in studies, when they get to 100,000 or more people, literally reduce stroke and heart attack and improve quality of life? Why do you hate men? And that's a serious question. Why do you hate men? Why do you feel that men should suffer the ravages of low testosterone with age? Why do you hate men? I want you to tell me that. Same, Chris, I've never seen people not benefit. It's extremists like this person who have some weird religious pro-natural fetish who hate men. That's exactly what it is, dude. I don't know why you hate your fellow man. Are you a feminist like who hates men? Are you a guy? I mean, what's going on here? Because that's what we're talking about here. Because you got large scale studies showing a reduction, 30% reduction in stroke and heart attack in people who went on TRT versus those who did not. When they're in the tens of thousands per group, there's your numbers. And you have the quality of life benefit. I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, even if it caused health problems, I could make the argument for the quality of life alone. So therein lay the real problem. Therein lay the real problem. In fact, the data doesn't support the health issue. But if it did, now we're balancing, potential minor health issues with the enormous benefits to quality of life. And now that's a big one that we got to balance out. Jamie, Jason, have you ever impression lifting weights you had no business? No. Right? Papa, but you've got these other studies. Maybe there is a conspiracy in some of those. Benjamin says, you still believe that exercise moves your body through space? For certain athletic benefits, sure, but not necessarily hypertrophy of the individual muscles, no, Benjamin. In terms of athleticism, yes. So it depends on which training response we're discussing. Have you heard about L-carnitine? I don't think there's benefits really to taking L-carnitine personally. No, Jamie, I'm not doing those. I don't even eat breakfast. No, I don't want to eat on camera again. I'm afraid if I go on TRT, TKS, what is that? Those are not even related. See, that's such a strange mindset. You're coming from a weird fitness mindset, right? TKS. So are you afraid to go take other medications because you're scared you're going to go buy some on the black market? So TKS, do you not take antibiotics when you get an infection because you're scared you're going to go buy black market antibiotics and take more? That just seems really weird. So you're just going to suffer with depression, less performance in the bedroom, less business performance, and all those things because of that. Higher risk of stroke and heart attack. You're just going to eat that. I mean, that's your personal choice, dude. We have an expression here in Texas. It says that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Man, that's all good. But that just seems like a really weird take. I don't know though, man. Be careful, don't get you a wife who likes sex. If you skip the TRT, she might go visit Chad Thundercock. I mean, I guess you could use some Viagra or something. I don't know. I don't understand why a guy would personally tolerate low testosterone. I don't, unless they legit. I know a guy who did because of like prostate cancer is extremely high in his family. It was a risk. That was like one exception. His wife also left him, by the way. I know for a fact she was cheating on him, and then she left him for another dude. But just throwing that out there. Coach, you're on test. You give a very weak feminine energy. Ooh. Oh, that was mean. I think I told him no, and he said something anyways. I shouldn't block people for that. There's a point where I'm just like, I don't argue with people. When I tell you no, just that's it. I'm done with it. Never miss leg day training leg, but I shouldn't have done that. In fair, hold on. Let me unhide him. See if he behaves. All right. All right. I unbanned you, Jamie. This has been a lively chat, at least. Maybe some sound takes for people. So, for my shoulder injury, hey, Jamie, but next time no means no, right? If I say, hey, I don't want to do those sort of vlogs, just accept my no. Satnav, what do you think of 800 grams of ground beef for dinner? Is that too much? No, not necessarily. I mean, if you're protein overfeeding, it's not. It's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of protein at once. Hey, William, I don't know what's going on with your shoulder injury. We're getting over to coaching or consultation level stuff, and I'm not going to be able to do that for you easily. Like that is not a straightforward, oh, so if you're getting a pain during an incline, I can't just fix it here. Yeah, Scott, I did them because people were requesting them, and then I didn't like them. They were weird. I didn't do them that long. If I'm gonna do eating videos, I'm gonna do it OnlyFans and charge people large sums of money to watch me eat rice. Probably some weirdos who would do it. Here's a picture of my foot. $10. Oh man. You know, and the funny thing is, all the same people, well, we just really wanted to know what you eat, but then they don't follow my Facebook. I put up my food all the time. I can't remember that. Tennis elbow has killed my gains on the bench press. Anything I've done. I need to see what's going on with your training, but probably some really high rep band press downs would be a start. Be a good start, right? I know people who are making a lot of money on OnlyFans. I've known some people who they literally pay their bills and they make good money. It's girls though, it's not guys. Well, I know some guys, but it's all gay stuff. Each their own. You know, people are paying for it. I just bought a Barrett down 107A150. Is that the bolt action one? No, I've started using seasoning, Scott. No, I mean, I just got back into seasoning my food a while back. Might as well. No, I didn't think it tastes bad. Sometimes I just didn't like my food over seasoned. That was a semi-auto. This is not the bolt. All right, cool. Nice. What'd that run you? Oh, you said 12K. Yeah, sounds about right. Okay, yeah. Definitely for the semi-auto one. Can you afford to shoot it? Feeding that thing is a little expensive. Unless you use that cheap ball ammo. It's not accurate. Man, you got a lot of money. Oh. Yeah. That can get expensive real fast for you. Would you recommend the band push downs? If you do them really, really light, it will help. No, it should make them worse. Don't be doing weights you can only do 20 reps with. Get the little tiny mini bands. All right? There's your key. All right, so we run this one pretty long. I think it's time to wind it down. Hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys and gals next time.